I tell you, this is magic. This is the magic. Overstepping boundaries. You know, when God or life established boundaries, you're not allowed to just walk up to someone and punch them, because that's a boundary. Whatever feelings you're feeling, you're not supposed to put that on someone else. That's magic. You know, when you're driving a car and you just veer off into the side of the road, that's a boundary. And I tell you, boundaries are magic. That's why I said some of these are very real scenarios that you're not supposed to play with. Let me see what else. You know, when you're working a job and you're listening to people's personal conversations, that is magic. This is the most hardest object you'll ever hear in your life, is that I said that you can't be here. You know, when, let me see, like, you're working at a restaurant and you send your food back multiple times because it's not prepared to the standard that you like, and the cook gets mad. That is a movie. It is showing you magic. There is no reason why the cook should know who sent the food back or how many times. You know, when you are understaffed for a position, that is magic. And that is why the game Magic the Gathering came out. You know, when God placed very clear boundaries that everyone should have respected, I feel this way about a situation. Okay, then you go to yourself and you deal with that. I am upset about the way something is being handled. Okay, so you go to yourself and then you handle that. Let me see where the magic would be in this. You know, when you're incapable of helping yourself, what would that be called? I have no idea. This is the most impending natural disaster. This is an impending natural disaster. You know, when you are probably incapable of helping yourself over time, because everyone got shot with adrenaline at the beginning of time, and over time, I believe someone said you're supposed to come down from that adrenaline because you're supposed to switch over to good energy. But this is the most magic. And I say, what if we all were a part of a simulation where we are all the same thing and we are all connected because God created us in His image, and God created us to live peacefully together. God already knew that you would be here. God already knew that you were deserving of respect and love and, patience and, protection. And that's a monsoon coming, and that young man over there is turning into a dragon because his God said that it might not be the same thing. That's how he said. There are so many, and this is the thing as well, is that anyone had love in their heart, or anyone actually cared about anything for all of eternity. And and that's that. I'm gonna go get to that actually, because when someone is saying, no, we are one person, but I was born over here and you were born all the way over there, and I have no possible way of knowing anything about you for all of eternity. which means you could be anywhere, doing anything in any type of way, and I would be none the wiser because I'm minding my business. And I say, maybe there is a God, maybe there is not a God, but I know that everybody should have been decent. I know everybody should have been decent at least. This is the most askew. And I say magic is also askew. Magic, when there are boundaries there, and so you respect it, and so it does not intersect. Askew, when it's just not connecting. I am upset at you, so I put my hands on you. There's so many things there. First of all, why are you in my energy? You should have never been close enough to be upset by me. You're upset by me, so you put your hands on me instead of going to get a witness or going to get the proper authorities. This is the most, like anything happened and everything went askew. And then I say, what is the strongest power? And he's frothing at the mouth, calling himself the Dark Lord. I am the Dark Lord. The Dark Lord is me. And do you see how no one was supposed to be allowed to say stuff like that? You're not allowed to say stuff like that. But this is magic. This is magic. Not respecting boundaries is magic. You know when you're doing whatever this is, and that is possibly going to get a job. Sarcasm. Rah-rah. And Eli. Sarcasm. You know when you are being sarcastic and saying, yeah, right. Like that's gonna happen. And that whole thing could actually make it happen. You know when you are in flat earth, bypassing all of this energy because you're cataloging it and categorizing it as a joke. It's just a joke. What's the problem? This is the most overpowered thing I've ever seen in my life. This is the most just because you knew. But this is also that where did it start and why? And I say, first of all, you're not long life. You are one person. People saw long life. And there were very clear indicators of what to do and what not to do. Did you see long life? Did. Who did you see long life with? You know when you are being Mount Rushmore, actually. This really is that. You know when you are being Mount Rushmore and one person had to dive in order to give people solid materials, and you're like, you don't even know, even if you do somehow, some way, make it to long, good life, you don't even know what you're gonna get. And you also don't know the culture. And you also don't know the rules. You also don't know the standards. You also don't know how to do anything because you're not behind the scenes. You're also not allowed. You're also not allowed to be behind the scenes. And you're going to be respectful. You're going to have respect for order and doctrine and discipline and documents. You're going to act like you have some sense. Wow. You want to live. Like, you want to live. You want to live and be good. Like, you want to go to the water park. You want to go to the mall. You want to get your nails done and your hair done. You want to wear cute outfits. You want to go to the movies. What? Like, you want to be good. You want to walk around with new shoes on. You want to smell good stuff and not the bad stuff. You want to you want to go into the future. You want to go into the future. This man wants to live. Am I right or am I right? Like, this guy wants to live so bad. Am I right or am I right? Flip to the back. You just get flipped to the back. Flip to the back. Wow. What if I said that I was sorry to the person that did it after God showed you all of these systems in place? And you are still trying. You know, when you're just asking people to stop, this is really the most. One person had to dive, and you don't even know anything about the future. You're just going off blind faith and survival instincts. You know, when there is probably no God in survival. There's probably no God in survival. And I say, why isn't there? That's what I'm saying. You know, when people took the God out of survival, so all the trees started to rot. Every single tree is rotting now because people took the God out of survival. That's that pesticides out the tree. Plastic is now being taken out of the trees. Carbonation is being taken out of the water, so now it's becoming hard water instead of floating water. You took the pesticides out of the atmosphere that causes us to be able, you know, when there's thick bubbles over every single atmosphere to protect people, you took the pesticides out. So now our atmospheres are mixing for no reason. And I think that may be a monsoon, actually. You know, when you just let a monsoon in because you took the pesticides out? You know, when God said to just respect boundaries? This is the most, well, you are, and I know that you are. And they did that to every single person. And this is the most, okay, if I was, why didn't you go to the proper authorities? This really is that there is no justice. There is no justice, there is no freedom, and there is no God. What there is can you please not? Like in real life, we all have to live forever. We just existed for no reason. And even that didn't have to be bad. Y'all said the strongest object was coming for no reason. We just existed for no reason. In real life, if you could just respect the boundaries and go to the proper authorities instead of coming to me who just got here, and how you probably know I don't have anything, and how proper authorities. Because yeah, I caught that too. What am I learning from this? I say less and less. I'm learning less and less from this over time. This is the most I'm mad that I exist. So you went backwards in a bad way. I'm telling you, I'm maintaining a hold. Even that, I'm maintaining a hold over everything for all of eternity. So yeah, I did. There's so many emotions that come from that. I would have said, why was it even that steep? And you all came out looking alike. Every single person came out looking alike. Every single person came out looking alike. No. You know when you're probably an inanimate object? First of all, the entire space-time continuum got up and started walking for no reason. The entire space-time continuum got up and started walking for no reason. You are probably an inanimate object. And that really is that. I'll take a piece, I go over here. And that would have said, if you're not that, then what would have been the force of attraction there? And over time, there probably would have never been any. You know when you just got zapped and that's what it became? That's why I said, and you're all fighting to look the same. And then you go a little bit further than that. And what do you see? That you're all fighting to do the wrong thing. And I say, no, we're wrapping this up. I'm learning less and less from this every day. And even that's what I'm saying. So you're going to have to listen to what I'm saying. In the future, you don't put your hands on me. But that's also me saying I really don't want to be that. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna listen to what I gotta say. You're gonna listen to what I gotta say. I gotta say something. You know you're on the live now because now it existed. But this is the most. Why isn't anybody talking behind the scenes? Everybody waited for you to be born. Every single person waited for you to be born. Not one evolved. But this also isn't the thing, you know, would have had to askew. And that's that, because now I'm living my life. Because now I'm living my life. Now I'm living my life, and you're walking, and you're talking, and you're breathing, and you're existing, and you're doing all of that stuff that you're doing, like getting your hair done and your nails done, and making sure that you don't stink, and you're just doing all of that. And I say, even that I did not like. Why did you go to school? And this is the most, every school is abandoned. Not one person is in school growing up. This is the most, well, I like you, so I'm gonna put my, like in real life. But how do you know when we're zapping people? And that's that you zapped me, bruh. You did though, and you would have wanted someone to catch that we're out here zapping people. So we're just inanimate objects. That's what I'm saying, walking around. Why didn't anybody catch that probably everything is an inanimate object if we just existed for no reason? There is no such thing as an actual anything or a human being or an animal. We are all just inanimate plastics. You know when we're all plasticity? There's plasticity and pressure. There's not one real thing about anyone over time. We're just doing what we're taught or doing what we're told. And over time, it's going to say, why didn't someone take that implant out? Because we could be doing things the complete wrong way. And that's going to say, why didn't we go the right way? What if everybody was born white? What would have been the appeal behind a black person? Why did everybody start at yellow? Why didn't anybody turn blue? Why didn't anybody turn purple? You know, we're just looking for things that are different. And nobody switched. Nobody turned. You know, you're probably just that's what I'm saying. You know, you're probably just the one that made it. This is the most you would have wanted to see the OG. I say, how is he spending his entire eternity? Trying to make you laugh. Trying to make you laugh over time. Is it because I'm a girl? You know when God was like, men only like men, and that kind of was where that just fell off, is that men like men, so just back up, is what God said at the beginning of time. And I say, even that we would have had to grow through, because that's what I'm saying, I'm not even mad that you said that men like men, but now I have to grow up and see that I kind of don't like men because I am a man. And then it's like, but I'm you, and so you're with a man, and even I don't really want to care about is that this the thing when God said that we have to have these big personalities. That's what I'm saying. This is the most like my birthday party, not your birthday party. Oh my god. Wow.